Hi, my name is Kelsey Bourne, and I am in the Spring 2021 Investigating Science Methods class. And I just wanted to give an update for Learning Activity 7 on my semester long project. The topic that I chose was weather, weather instruments, learning about storms, all of that. So the whole unit on like the water cycle, climate, weather, all of that. So I've created a unit that I've actually been able to implement this quarter. I know that this was supposed to be something we do in the future, but I wanted it to be usable now. So I have made this like a cross-curricular unit since my school is an IB school and we're inquiry based. So for ELA, for English Language Arts, we have been focusing on kind of like test prep, which I don't love, but I wanted to make it meaningful. So we've been doing the race strategy, which is race strategy stands for restate the question that is being asked, answer the question, cite evidence, and then explain the evidence. And we're doing that with a book we're reading called Night of the Twisters, which is an older book, but my students were really interested in tornadoes and twisters and Tornado Alley. So I made this novel study for Night of the Twisters, made sure all my kids had a copy of the book, and I paired it with mystery science lessons that are free because my district purchases this for us. And we started with some water cycle lessons and then moved into their unit called Stormy Skies. But without going through too much of this, I basically started with an author intro for the ELA portion. And then we did a KWL on tornadoes, which I'll show you some of my students' work on this in just a moment. And I made this pretty usable. Like I made all of these activities in Seesaw so that any teacher can implement this moving forward. And then we did like some geography, the setting of the book, and a lot of my students didn't realize that tornadoes happen most frequently in the United States and North America. They thought that tornadoes happen all over the world in the same amount of frequency, but didn't realize that we have that's most common here. So that was pretty interesting for my students. We explored major tornadoes in the areas of Nebraska where our book takes place, and a lot of my students were really interested in the death count and damage done. Of course, controversy is always going to draw them in. So yeah, I'm just kind of zooming through this. I treated this as a read aloud, so I read it aloud to my students. It took about 2 weeks, and we would do 2 chapters at a time, practice the race strategy, restating questions, and then answering it together, and then they would have a task where they did the same with a question from the book using a rubric for the race strategy. So that was my ELA component. As for science, I did pull some articles and resources from, I think, ReadWorks and News ELA, just basic things about tornadoes, prepping for tornadoes, safety first, protecting against tornadoes, all of that to kind of just build their background knowledge as we would move into science. And that went with the task on the KWL. Let's see if I can go backward to that time when we started that. I believe we did it on this day. There it is. So this is what my students were assigned in Seesaw. They were assigned, it was 6 different slides, but this was their task time. I made sure to have some videos for my students who are more like visual auditory learners. And then I literally just copy pasted in these articles from ReadWorks that they could use. And this was their work time. And then they had this chart to fill out. And students did pretty well with this. We're an inquiry-based school, so this is pretty common practice at my school when we start a new unit. But they really did much better when we just shared out together. So I was going to show a couple student responses to the KWL, which was like our starter. I'll show the students. I love how she circled the one that she found most interesting. A lot of students kind of forgot that part, and that was more just to like check that they actually read it. And we did the what I know kind of together. That was part of our opening, just to I wanted to know what they already knew so we could talk about misconceptions as we've learned in this class. And then they went on and did what they know and then what they want to learn. And this is just great documentation, what they want to know, because that kind of drives my instruction of like where are we moving forward. A lot of them were really interested in how you can stop a tornado or like what can we do to stop weather from happening. And that was a interesting misconception that students feel like we can stop weather from occurring. And I think it like kind of it really goes into that thinking that they're going to get more of in fifth grade of like there are destructive forces that we can't stop from happening, and that water and wind are powerful and more powerful than we are as humans. So I think that was like a really interesting, I guess I would call it a misconception, that they believed that there's something they could do to stop tornadoes from happening. And I think the other thing that was interesting for a lot of them was they learned that there's a lot that scientists actually don't know about tornadoes, especially when it comes to predicting them, that it's still a mystery. So this was like our starter and opening, and that drove a lot of the instruction. And as for the science and the inquiry time, I used some water cycle lessons that are from Mystery Science, but mostly I used this unit, which is called Stormy Skies. And the first one went through the water cycle and phases of matter, which is just a really good review. It talked about where clouds come from. My students probably loved lesson 2 the most because it talked about like predicting the weather. It talks about fronts, but it also talks about identifying clouds and naming them. And I mean, even it's been almost a week and a half, 2 weeks, my students are still going outside and talking about they know how to predict the weather that day because they know what the clouds are telling them. So it's just really cool to see them connecting with nature in that way. Because the whole point of my semester-long project was a weather watching journal, so it's really cool that they're already making those connections. We talked about climate around the world. This activity was really fun because they basically split up into different groups. This was very weird virtually, but we made it work. They were able to split up into different groups with some had maps of Europe and Asia, some had maps of North America and South America, and then some had maps of, Europe and Africa, and then Asia and like New Zealand and all of that. And they saw average temperatures, and they had to color in the if like average temperatures ran from like 80 degrees and up Fahrenheit, then that was like a red area. So they had to color that part of the map red. And when you put all 3 maps together, then they could see that there were climate patterns around the world. So that was really interesting for my students. And then we just most recently did this last lesson, which went with our book really, really well. And they did like a STEM project where they had to construct a house and then figure out how to protect it from wind that was blowing. So that was a really good connection to our book, especially since we just finished our story. And then the other update to my project is my e-learning module. I have completed it, just waiting for us to get to the point where we explore some people's. I've actually assigned this to my students, and we're starting it this upcoming week. And this was making an anemometer, since those are used to detect wind speed. I read some articles for the NSTA about making weather instruments, and this was one that they recommended for tornadoes and hurricanes. And so I basically just split it up into the 5 E's as we were instructed to do. And my students are going through the making an anemometer process. I even made it accessible for students who don't have materials. I've pre-recorded the lab for some of my virtual students if they couldn't pick up their weather instrument bags, which I made with all of the instruments materials in it. And so I have that ready for students who may not have access to materials. They can still watch the lab and like be a part of the process. So that's all here in the e-learning module. As for my students having access to it, I put it on Seesaw already. So go to next week. You can see starting tomorrow, they will do day 1 of weather instruments. And this is literally from my e-learning module. I just made it accessible through our school's platform. So I just copy pasted things over. We start with a read aloud about weather forecasting, just kind of connect to what we already know. And then I have the mini lesson video here just in case students need to watch it. I always like for them to have access to rewatch things. And then I have a Nearpod task to review weather instruments. It's just a little game. So we'll do that Monday. Tuesday, they will do the second day of their e-learning module. I had to break it up for them. So they get two choices. One, they can make their own anemometer, and this is the video for that. That's the instruction. Or option two, if they don't have any of the supplies, they can watch the pre-recorded lessons here. I also have the option two and option one tasks, of course. And then everyone has to do these pages here, which connects to the math portion where they're going to be plotting the data of how fast or how many rotations their anemometer gets on low, medium, high speed of a fan. And then I believe I have day 3 over here. There it is. So weather instruments day 3. This is the assess portion. So these are the final days of evaluating and explaining. Sorry. And there's an actual like quiz, of course, but then I have their explain portion. They can go to the Flipgrid link and they can answer these questions about what they learned. So that's kind of like the more the explaining portion and where I can hear from them directly. So this is my semester-long project. Again, I know that it was meant to be like something in the future, but with me about to go on maternity leave, I really just wanted to do something meaningful and I wanted to implement it now. To kind of push me to work hard on that with my students. So thank you for watching my video, and I hope that is a good overview.